Jason Babin here, going to take an inside look at Beach Road Fish House and Chicken Dinner. We're also going to sit down with Nathan Stewart and find out what makes these restaurants tick.
So I'm Nathan Stewart, fourth generation from Jacksonville. Grew up in the South Side area. My dad opened Seafood Kitchen in 1984, and I grew up in the restaurant business.
So my father also owns a business, so it was, as I know, like, hey, as soon as I could walk and talk, I was out there doing stuff. So what were some of your first jobs over there at Seafood Kitchen?
Basically I grew up, on the weekends from ages 5 to 15, actually, sitting underneath the line waiting for my dad to get off, so I saw everything that went down, and from watching this to learning that, to remembering, anything and everything. He pointed out, he's like, always look somebody in the eye, always watch your labor, always, be wary of your food costs, anything and everything he was always teaching.
Was there a moment that you could say, hey, this was the moment he passed the torch? He said, you know what? Or was that, there's been some father-son moments. I have 3 boys where, I'm like, I kind of passed the torch in a certain thing. Was there a moment with a restaurant where you're like, all right, I got this, Dad?
I think for me it was a little bit later. I went off to college and, didn't really decide that I wanted to be involved in the family business till probably almost like 28 or 29 years old.
So you were finding yourself.
Finding myself.
That's right. Yeah. That's definitely part of the journey for sure.
Yeah. But once I did, I'm always a 110% or nothing kind of person. So
all in.
All in immediately.
That's the only way to be. Now once your dad kind of said, hey, you know what, time for you to run with it. And in full disclosure, I do know your dad, so I have a little insight. But when that happened, and you said, okay, this is my plan. Did you have a plan? Like, I'm gonna crush this door, then I'm gonna open up another one. Walk me through that process.
I think it was more of like, I'm taking the torch now kind of deal, because I was ready to move faster, and being the fatherly figure that he is, he was like, slow down, take your time, and I'm more prone to put a lot on my plate. So I took this one, went and opened the Orange Park Fish House. Within, that was last December. Here we are, it's not even been a year yet, and we're on our 4th store.
So from being a fellow business owner, I'm sure you looked at it as, okay, how do I make this scalable?
Yeah.
So you have a formula that worked. Obviously, you ironed out your kinks. So it's okay. Now I'm just going to replicate that, right? So what are your plans now? You have this is the 3rd location, correct? So the 3rd restaurant.
This is the 3rd restaurant that I own, and is the 4th business for us. We have one licensed or franchise style location in Aiken, South Carolina.
You said Aiken?
Yep.
You got to be shitting me.
No.
I got family in Aiken.
Yep.
I've been to the
So
steeplechase.
it's called the Aiken Fish House and Oyster Bar. It opened in March and is absolutely crushing it.
I will make sure I stop in there.
And now I just finalized the deal that we're bringing 2 more locations that we will own as a family, and we also have just sealed a deal that we'll do our 2nd licensed store in Tallahassee, and that we have just found a location for.
So your dad's got to be sitting there as kind of a proud dad.
Yeah, he's proud, but he's also still going, slow down. But my formula is looking for recession-proof places, that can make it through a recession, not getting in over our head in terms of overhead, rent, high rents, things like that. Look at where we're sitting. It's this Beach Road Chicken Dinner. It was a mess when I found it.
Yeah. Oh, so you buy existing ones and clean them up.
Yeah. I mean, it just depends on the situation.
Yeah.
But my first thing and first thought is, what would happen if the market tanked? Will we still be able to see our way through that? I'm not looking at how much money can I make at the top of the market. I'm looking at can I survive the bottom? And because we want 20, 30 year, leases,
absolutely,
and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Now, what about, are you involved in, since you're 4th generation here in Jacksonville, do you have any charities or special, things that you do that, it's kind of, someone wouldn't know about you?
That we're involved in the fishing industry, especially me. I take on as much fishing tournaments and things like that as I can. A lot of them are nonprofits that donate money, from American Red Cross to where we pick families for individual tournaments that are in need. especially like just now with the Bahamas getting crushed. A lot of us go over there a lot, and so we're sending containers over there. And we always chip in any way, shape, or form we can, but we always reach out and donate money to the fishing tournaments, to the people who support us the most. Because it's such a tight-knit community. The fishermen really come in and frequent all our restaurants. Every single store we usually do a deal, hey, we'll sponsor your football team in that demographic, and say, hey, all we want in return is for a team activity. So they get our support, and then we might get somebody in through that team activity that would, I know that we're there.
Yeah,
we get that exposure.
Yeah, no, so you interject into the community.
Yes,
obviously,
absolutely.
It sounds like that's awesome. I didn't know how to fish when I got here. Okay, full disclosure. I'd chartered boats with my dad, traveling, vacation, etc. But when I came to Jacksonville, I said I want to learn how to do this, right? So, and your dad was one of the guys that would tell me, all right, this is what you need to try. This is how you need to run your spread. This was, so one of the cool things I've learned about the fishing community here is everyone's willing to teach and to help. What you would think, like, okay, these are my trade secrets, but the fishing community here in Jacksonville, I've found to be just unbelievable group of guys. I've done a few tournaments. I've gotten to know quite a lot of the guys in the area.
I think it's one of the things in Jacksonville that I'm extremely proud to be a part of. The fishing community. I always tell my wife, if something happens, go to the fishermen, because the fishermen are always there in Jacksonville to help out each other and families in need. Just like the thing with the Bahamas right now. We've had other instances where guys, if wives have gotten sick or they've had family tragedies, and the overwhelming response of the fishermen to help those families that were in need, who needed it, were just astronomical.
Now, what about the seafood? I mean, I imagine you guys got to go through just an unbelievable amount of seafood. Now, are you in charge of buying the seafood? Are you there? You see those shows, the restaurants about the guys, like, they're at the pier at 4 a.m, looking at the seafood, checking their eyes, looking at the legs, and the crab. I mean, tell me about that process, the seafood selection.
I personally buy all the seafood for all the stores. I have 4 or 5 vendors that I work with, from Safe Harbor to CNC Fisheries to Seafood Sales, all local vendors. It just depends on price, which boat dropped off this week. I'm always weary of price, but always trying to use the best product that we can. And I think that's why I've been so successful, is because we, regardless of price, will use the best product available.
So that's not negotiable.
That's not negotiable.
You never delegate that one. That's all you.
You never cut corners in this business.
I know nothing about the restaurant business. All I know is I come in and eat here or any other restaurants. The food is good, and I leave happy.
Yeah, I would say that it probably goes for your business as well as everybody else's. Is when you start cutting corners, is when you start neglecting your business.
Well, one of the things I've noticed about Seafood Kitchen, and even since walking here, is the customer service. You walk in, you get greeted, everyone says hi, and you just get a warm feeling. So I've noticed the culture, right? And I relate everything back to football because of my past. But it seems to me the culture you have at the restaurants is the same at each restaurant. You can tell everyone's working together. They're team based. You can feel the leadership team from top down, and no detail seems to be missed. Is that something that you done purposely, or that's just something you learned from your father?
It's definitely purposely, and he always did things the same way. I learned it from him, and it's like, this is the South, and Southern hospitality is alive and well. It's service is as important as the food, and if people aren't working together, then you don't fit in the team. This is a team building experience. We do team building projects. Everybody has to work as a team to make it work.
Yeah, so we walked in the kitchen briefly. There was a lot going on, but and look, like you see the National Geographic shows with the ants going every different direction. That's kind of what the kitchen looked like. Everyone had a purpose.
I mean, this store just opened. We did over 1,130 dinners last Saturday, and in this small of a space, if everybody is not working together, it would be a catastrophe. Yeah,
but everybody seems to be happy, and the flow is running right.
Yeah.
Now, for people that aren't from the South, talk about grits. Right, I'm from the north. Right, I've defected to the South mainly for the weather and the beach and the bikinis. But the grits. I mean, we growing up in the north, like grits. Like, yeah, grits. Was it oatmeal? What is it? Like, just give people that may watch this video a little something about grits.
Grits are are different. You know, I think it's kind of one of those granny plates. It's like where we get older women who come in here is like, oh, they need to be a little bit more creamy, or they need to be a little bit more thin. Everybody has a preference with grits. I don't know if there's a true way to make them. It's just don't use instant grits. You got to use stone ground grits.
Stone ground grits. Well, because I've noticed that when I go to the restaurants here, especially in the South, Florida, is the shrimp and grits is on every menu, and I feel like you can judge a place, you know, that cooks Southern food by their shrimp and grits. Now, have you guys won any awards for your shrimp and grits? Is there something special we should know about your shrimp and grits?
We just actually started using them. I'd say the most special thing to do is make sure you use the best high quality ingredients, you know, heavy whipping cream, local shrimp, not imported shrimp, you know, things like that. I think the shrimp and grits is the biggest deal breaker to me.
So the shrimp is it's like steak, right?
That is to me. You know, you could use a bad quality shrimp or a high quality shrimp, and that's probably the first thing you put in your mouth when you order shrimp and grits is you go right for the shrimp, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this. The Jags, right? Didn't get the start we wanted. Foles getting hurt. You a Jags fan? Do you go to the games on Sunday?
I'm a diehard Jags fan. I just want to say that, you know, Beach Road Chicken is alive and well, and that we just, you know, morphed two concepts, and that, you know, we're doing huge tailgate packages for the Jags game. The Hart Expressway is right there. We're opening up early on game days, you know, doing 100, 200, 300 piece orders already for stuff like that. And, you know, we're still catering full time. So.